Hey everybody, welcome back to the 42 Days of Magical Practice. We're on day number 11, and I hope it went okay with the Black Mirror exercise.
Not too much wailing and gnashing of teeth in the night.
Yes, yeah, no waking up, screaming,
Yeah.
crying.
No, that's the paying customers.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah,
They only get the wailing and screaming at night.
yeah,
That's right. That's right.
the more you pay, the worse it hurts.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So anyway, today we're moving on to the flip side of the coin, the white mirror. So
Right.
obviously it's sitting down and listing out those aspects of yourself that you see as strengths or that you feel
Right.
good about, or those areas of your day where you acted congruently.
Right. I mean, in the end, again, congruency is the key to, deciding which way it's going, right? If it's congruent, it's going to be on the positive side. If it's incongruent, it's going to be on the negative side if we want to use
Right.
positive and negative, right? Or black and white is probably an even better way to do it. So on the white side, it's those areas where you're consistently congruent,
Yeah.
It's like we can start with the big three, right? Love and charity and compassion and all of the good things. Where do you see yourself listed in those territories? How are we with the people that are closest to us, and how are we with those people that we don't know at all? And is that translating through in a good way, or maybe not in a good way? Again, we want to start with ourselves, of course. How are we, with the black mirror, how are we, bashing ourselves, or what things are like that, and what things are we good with ourselves? It's start with the center, start with the core, that's you, and then radiate out from there. Then, your family, the people closest to you, your friends and closest acquaintances, the, people at work, the people in your community, and then more and more impact, right? As you impact those closest to you and they impact others, you're magnifying exponentially your effect in the world. So we're writing down those positive qualities, those areas where I think, I may not be perfect, obviously, but I'm doing pretty well. Most times I'm hitting this, gratitude mark. I'm hitting this mark of, love, or being charitable, doing something for somebody close to me. And then, and I do it for those that I don't even know. I give to certain charities or do those types of things because I can, because I want to, and I can.
I can
So
see
do
really easily how the black mirror aspect of the exercise is important, for removing those things that are tripping you on the way to creating what you want. But how does the white mirror move you closer towards creating or manifesting that goal?
Yeah.
Is it just like boosting yourself up or getting that charge of feeling better about yourself? Or
It is some of that, but also I think when people sit down to do it, when we release them and let them go and do this,
yeah,
I think it's pretty safe to say, I could pretty securely say that if the majority of people sort of follow the same track as students in the past, that they're going to find that their white mirror list is far shorter than their black mirror list. And so is that a truth, or is it just how they see themselves? And that gives them some deeper understanding. Whether it's true or false is one thing, but really it gives them a deeper understanding if their circumstances in any area of life are not going the way they want, and if it's due to congruency more than anything else, and we see that the negative territories, they feel that way about themselves, in a much larger scale than their good traits. Why would they deserve something better? So at least in their own mind, no matter how good somebody else feels that they are, the type of person that they are, how do they feel about themselves? How do they see themselves? So, it's just a good gauge, basically, but it gives them some deeper understanding as to why it may not be moving in that direction, and bringing those things into a correct balance will in some ways sort of automatically correct that, or put it in a situation where it could move in either direction, right? So, and again, moving into the last day, how do we balance those two things out? How do we, dissipate the black mirror traits down somewhat, or put them under control and put a little harmonious fence around them, if so to speak, and how do we raise up or bring those positive traits into more
So
light?
is it having the magic mirror and looking at both sides of it, is it just basically an answer to that question, why have I been trying so long to get this thing but I can't seem to, or why am I not at the level that I want to be with this area of my life? I mean, is it just feedback or an objective view of why those things are either going the way that we want them to or not?
Well, if we see, if we take it, let's say, at least the word on a literal level, right? A mirror reflects back, but it doesn't reflect back perfectly, right? It reflects a mirror image, right? The sort of the reverse, right? It's not like they did this experiment one time. There's where they made these mirrors that had other mirrors within them, so that it would reflect back
The way people see you.
and
Your
so
actual
right,
image,
your
not
actual
your
image. So
mirror
right
image.
is right and left is left, and not the reverse, right? And people, it was very uncomfortable for people to look in that mirror. And so, strange. I mean, just sort of in a weird way, an optical illusion, but at the same time, it's sort of like, why would that be? My first thought would be that would be kind of a cool thing to have it reflect back exactly, the way, your part looks like it's on the right side, because it's on the right side.
Right,
So it's like,
right.
oh, that's how people see me? Wow, that's kind of weird. I never see myself that way. I always look in a mirror and see that mirror reflection, which is slightly altered, right? It's a little bit different dimension of me. And so if we take this exercise, this magic mirror exercise, the black mirror and the white mirror, it gives you, that sort of mirror reflection. We look at it and we say, okay, this isn't, it may not be exactly me.
Or it may not be how others see me.
It
but
may
it's
not be
how
how
you
others see me,
yourself.
but it's how I see myself, right? So it's that sort of, holding it in front of your nose and saying, okay, this is how I see myself, and so what am I going to do about that? Am I just good with it? I'm not going to change, or this is just the way I am. I'm never going to be anything else. And like, if that's your decision, then that's your free will to be that way, and if not, if you want to do something about it, it gives you a clear, delineated, character traits to work on and see and say, okay, today I'm going to take this. This is important for me. And this, yesterday I fell down, 5 times on this certain thing. I'm going to make it a point to really be hyper conscious about this aspect of myself, and I'm not going to fall into those traps today.
And with the good ones,
same thing. I'm going to, express them in a way that's maybe a little bit more, it doesn't have to be more overt, but maybe I'm really charitable with my close family, but maybe I can extend that charity out a little bit farther. It doesn't have to be that way. Just giving you an example, but it's a way that we can, boost that up and make the part of ourselves, the subconscious, which is the largest part of our mind, right? Make that part congruent with allowing things that we want to come into our life more smoothly. Less breakers being thrown, right?
and in writing out those positive aspects, you're building them up.
You're building them up, right? Exactly, because you're bringing them into, you're bringing them to physical creation. You're bringing them to manifestation. So, I mean, again, it's just another technique to sort of take something that can seem very amorphous and something between psychology and woo-woo and whatever, and like making it, grounding it a little bit, making it more solid. Again, the whole idea behind any of these practices is to take something that seems, energetic and bring it into matter. So that's the idea. Or or the reverse, right? Take something that's matter and change it back into something that's just a wave or an energetic pattern. That's it. So, but we have very little, if we can't do it with something like this, it's going to be very difficult to do it with something more.
Right.
So it's a good place to start and gives you a good solid feel for what you're trying to do. And again, the brain learns by association. So if it associates what you're doing with that idea, then when you go to present a different idea to it, it's going to say, oh, this is just like that. So, or pretty close to it. So I can use these same techniques. It's familiar to me. So there's going to be less discomfort in doing it. So again, using all of these tricks of the brain and the physical body, sort of not against it, but using it ultimately in its favor, right? But it likes to pattern and be where it is. It doesn't like change. Most people don't like change. So, because it's uncomfortable, right? It's unfamiliar, uncomfortable. Those two are pretty closely related. So if we can use that trait of association and say to the brain, okay, here's an exercise, when we go to do another one, this is very close or similar to it, it's going to make that association. It's not going to feel as unfamiliar to it, and it's going to have more of a comfort level going there than it would otherwise if it was something brand new and it's like, oh, I don't know where this is going. So the white mirror, even though it'll be a shorter list, it will be the same type of thing. Some people feel more uncomfortable writing down their traits. There are people that, you would think that they would be like, oh God, please let me write down something good about myself now
Right,
to balance it out. But it's actually, for some people, it's going to be more difficult. They see their faults more than they see their potential or their good, that they do. And it's, that it all gives us insight into ourselves. Remember in the beginning, it's know yourself. In order to do this work on a really, at a peak level, the biggest thing is to know yourself.
Right.
And so this just helps us get to that point. And so, if it is a hard thing for you to do, to write down your positive, that's something you need to know about yourself. You may have alluded to it earlier, but it's there. It's difficult to do. So that gives you information that's valuable. And you'll have one other thing that you can identify and work on. All to the end goal, right?
Right.
We always want to kind of keep that in mind, why, what am I doing and why am I doing it, right? So, and then that seed of that initial want that we started with, it's always there. This is a method to get to that place, a stepping stone, a block that needs to be put in place in order for us to get there. Hard to jump over a 20-foot wall for most of us from the ground. We need to build a ladder step by step to get up and then get over, right? So each one of these techniques is one of those rungs on the ladder that helps us to get farther and farther until we can easily climb over. That's all.
Awesome.
Yeah. There you go.
Cool.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. Get to it.
Have fun.
Enjoy. See you guys tomorrow.